Hello, my name is Eric Lanchers, and today I'm going to be talking to you about creating a high converting page that also ranks. So we're going to be putting it all together. We're going to be combining traffic generation and also conversion because they don't need to be mutually exclusive. So what we're going to be talking about today is I'm going to present to you the perfect mix of ranking and converting elements. So we're really going to be creating hybrid pages. Now, when I'm talking about hybrid pages, I'm talking about pages that are designed to both rank and also convert into either leads, sales, or opt-ins, or increase your I guess leads would be increasing your mailing list. And that's the type of pages we're going to be talking about today. Now, there are other extremes that we will not be talking about today, and those other extremes are sales pages designed exclusively for sales with no regards to anything else. So for instance, my Panda Breakthrough page, because I drive all my leads via other methods, I drive my leads via referring pages, I drive my leads through forum and organic listings, through a lot of referrals, like word of mouth is huge, through webinars and all that. That means that my page at Panda Breakthrough is exclusively designed for conversion, and it has very little or next to no SEO elements. So what we're not going to be talking about those, and instead I recommend that if you want to make an exclusive sales page just to sell, then you drive traffic using different methods that we'll be talking about today. So today what we're going to be talking about is going to be the hybrid pages, the pages that have information, that have resources, that also either encourage a sale or capture a lead. The ones that you really want, these are the ones that you should be building most of the time, because those are the ones that could generate, those are the ones that are going to go and get the customers interested, and getting them to give you, either their email or money directly, getting them on the way to first step. So I'm going to be talking about those pages, and we're going to be talking about how to rank any of those pages and increase conversion. So convert as many leads or send as many clicks as possible. So if you're doing affiliates, this will be super important for you. And we're going to be talking about a lot of tricks that I use and things that I want to just kind of give to you. So we're going to talk about the headlines specifically for both SEO and converting. So even, any site you have will be it will be affected by this. We're also going to be I'm also going to give you a lot of conversion secrets and sneaky little tricks so Google ranks you higher, and at the same time you could have all those converting elements that you want. So let's jump right into it. And I'm going to be talking about giving Google what it wants while captivating your audience. So it's really a mix. It's a fine balance between giving Google what it wants, giving your users what it wants. So what you need to know is that to rank a page, any page, you just need to meet the minimum requirements. So the minimum requirements for a page is what Google will look at when it's trying to rank your site or your page. And Google doesn't really understand per se the text that you write. So as long as you present these blocks, so as long as you present this, Google will rank you and index you. So what the minimum that you want to do is going to be 750 plus words, a relevant H1, H2, one or two original images, one relevant internal or external link. So as long as you get that, you're set. You could have, you could throw backlinks at it, and you will start ranking. You will start getting traffic. So it doesn't really matter, how you structure it. As long as you have that on the page, Google will usually, say, okay, cool. They have a minimum of quality. What happens is a lot of times, we're making a sales page. We're like, oh, we really want to optimize it for conversion. So what we tend to forget having a relevant internal link, or we might not even use original images. And if we do use original images, we won't name them appropriately, and then we lose out on a lot of things because we expect, we're like, oh, well, we're just making this one to convert. But you don't have to. You could really combine both. In fact, what I recommend you do is use a target. So this is the ideal, where you want to have 2,000 plus words, 10 to 12 original images, and 3+ external or internal links, and 3+ external links. Now, when you do that, what I want you to do is think of it as building blocks. Think of it as a project where I'm giving you these blocks, and then you could structure these blocks any which way to achieve maximum conversion. So you don't have to think of it as a restriction. Instead of think of it as conversion tools and as pieces you have to convert your customers. So when you have a headline, you could actually look at it like this. You say, okay, cool, I have one H1 I have to use. So I can make one big headline that grabs attention. And you're like, okay, cool, I have 2,000 words at my disposal. So now you say, okay, cool, I have 2,000 words that I could use to persuade my prospect to take action with me. 10 to 12 original images. Not only does that rank well for Google, but also that gives me an opportunity to really sell my customer that this is what he needs. And same thing with the additional pages. They could be additional resource pages. And if you want to rank even higher, you want to have relevant external links, you could have third-party references that support your claim. So you see how you could transform all these building blocks and tools into actual things that'll help you to create a page that converts. Now, this has been a lot of abstract and theory, so let's jump right into examples. And I'm going to show you how the building blocks are used on very high ranking pages. So on the right hand side, this was one of the highest results for car loans in Canada. And basically what they're doing is they have a very simple H1, right? Very, very simple, just says auto loans. And Google knows that car and auto are synonyms, so it works just as fine. So here you have a very simple H1, and we're going to go over what makes a good H1, what makes a less good H1. And this is, an H1 that works. You have multiple H2s, which are not only conveying to Google that this is a page about, loans and financial things, but also it conveys to the user, because users will be scanning your page. So this is why, especially in the Panda course and everything, I put so much emphasis on subheadlines, because people don't usually read all the text. They scan and go through the subheadlines. Even this page, I haven't actually read the text. I've just kind of looked at the subheadlines. I'm like, yeah, cool, I'm at the right place. Now, same thing with the images. Images are super important. I've been touting them and just mentioning them over and over again. And even in this, you have the woman that's kind of driving a car, and if you look at that file name, it's relevant. It's like named like something like car loans woman or something like that. There's actually a relevant name to the keyword that we're trying to go for. So it fits in. It tells you, oh yeah, we're at the right place. But at the same time, it's also telling Google you're at the right place. So this page is about 1,000 words, and they've designed this page kind of like a Wikipedia page with a lot of internal relevant links. Now, not only does this increase your rankings, but it also engages your customers a lot more. So one of the things that makes this page convert so well is, first of all, very authoritative. The next thing is you have a very high scannability. It's very easy to tell if you're at the right place or not. And if you scroll right down a bit, they have a form that you can start calculating a mortgage right away, or request information. So it's designed in a very easy to scroll through and very easy to go through way, which will increase conversions a lot. And so let's look at another example. And this is another one which is also ranking extremely high for car loans. And once again, they're following the very same formula where they have the H1, they have multiple H2s, and they have relevant file names and anchor text. And even I pulled out on the right hand side, you can see this file, they followed the exact same model. It might have even been the same company that did both of these. Exact same model, where here the image here says car loans BNR background, right? So they're getting that one relevant image right over here. What makes this page really good is all the subheadlines. So whenever you want to rank, you want to have as many relevant subheadlines as possible. This is one of my best kept secrets for converting and also increasing the time on page, which obviously is related to Panda, and also related to just ranking in Google, where Google will read a lot of your subheadlines in order to figure out what this page is about. So this is really another example, and this is obviously an extremely competitive term, and they don't need to do much to rank and at the same time convert. And this page as well, actually, let me just go back. At the bottom, you once again have a form. So one of the things that I haven't been showing you yet is going to be the forms that they use to capture the emails, to capture the leads. This is another one, And I'm presenting this one because it is an article. So this one has a relevant H1. Very, very simple, how to get a car loan, but it tells you you're at the right place. Multiple H2s, this is step 1, but you actually have multiple steps. Relevant image file name right over here. It's also called something car loan. And tons of words, tons of relevant links. So you see, it's really, you could rank for very, very high monetizing words and keywords, but at the same time, you want to keep the conversions up as high as possible. And this page is probably the least good page in terms of converting, but it will be able, we're going to dive into how they make money from this one. Okay, so what I'm trying to convey in the first part is as long as you have the blocks and the incoming links, you'll rank. By the way, you also want to make sure that people don't leave your page right away. That sends a very bad signal to Google. But as long as you have the blocks, so the minimum requirement blocks, let's go back. It was, yes, this is what you want. You want to have 2,000 words, 10 to 12 original images, one H1. You don't want to have multiple H2s and relevant internal and external links. As long as you do that, pretty much anything you put on the page will rank. So it's really just, Google doesn't necessarily hate pages that are salesy. Google just dislikes pages that don't have those elements. So that's going to be one of the key features where all these pages are drastically different, but they all have those elements. Okay, so the headline. One of the things I want to cover is that copywriting. If ever you've taken copywriting classes, they talk about headlines as something that needs to grab attention. And for SEO is slightly different. So whenever you're writing copy on the web, the headline doesn't necessarily need to grab their attention and their undivided attention because they're already on your page. They're already reading, they're already there. You don't need to scream and shout, hey, this is a headline. Like if it's in a newspaper and you're scrolling through the newspaper, the headline absolutely needs to grab the attention. But once they're there, once they're on the page, reading the page, so on your website, reading the page, your headline needs to be good. But all it needs to do is confirm they're at the right place. So that's going to be one of the main distinctions whenever you're doing copywriting for just a sales page, or you're doing kind of like a hybrid, which is SEO copy. All you need to do is tell a user, yeah, you're at the right place. And what you want to do is you want to keep the keyword inside the headline somewhere, but also, kind of have it, natural. So a natural, yet keep the keyword inside. You're going to get the best of both worlds. The user's going to be like, okay, I'm at the right place. And at the same time, Google will say, okay, cool, your headline makes sense for the page. What I want to, here's are some examples that I will cover about the headlines. Now, I have the good, which is like how to get the best price on your car loan. That has a keyword inside, and it's not the best headline in terms of conversion, but it tells the user they're at the right place. A bad one would be discover one thing that prevents people from getting into their dream car. That would be a bad headline, not because it doesn't create attention or like grabs attention and all that, because that would be a very high converting headline in a newspaper, but it's not for the web. So for the web, a good headline would be recover from a Google penalty following this case study. And a bad headline for the web would be why is Google laughing while their so-called quality updates are crushing your business. That's the second one. The bad one is good for conversions, but it's not good for the hybrid model that we're going. So if you want to rank and also convert, you want to take the good ones where it has a keyword inside, and it's not the best in terms of conversion, but it is good enough, and it just tells the user they're at the right place. Same thing at the bottom. Profit from Facebook advertising. That's a good title if you're writing a Facebook advertising guideline. You want to get traffic for Facebook advertising, as opposed to who else wants to profit from the biggest social media platforms. That might be really good, to grab attention for if you're doing any ads, basically advertisement. That'll be really good, but it doesn't really work for SEO. So you want to have a hybrid for your headlines. Pretty straightforward. Now, the next part, and this is going to be one of the parts that people really, as soon as they go into conversions, they completely forget about this, yet it's so important, is that you could rename and make images original and use them to your purpose. So What I mean by that is whenever you're writing a page that you really want to convert, you're likely going to use a lot of imagery. You're likely going to use people talking about your product, like product descriptions. You might have an example of your product in action, and it's all about naming those file names whatever you want them to be relevant. So here I'm giving an example of how to recover from a PANA penalty, right? And we have a picture, and usually, you know what, I could name this graph. I could name it penalty recovery graph. I could just name it something that is, just a graph, or I could just name it a number. I could be like, oh, this is number, JPEG 22445.jpg. But instead, we named these pictures how to recover from PANA penalty example 1, how to recover from penguin penalty example 1. So you could basically take anything or any imagery that you put and put your keyword inside, and then after that, people will be able, that'll not only give you rankings, but also it will help, convert and sell your product. Here's an advanced trick that you could even abuse, and Google hasn't caught on to this yet. If with your buy button, you could even have a buy button that says buy fishing poles now, and that will increase your rankings on the page, even though it's only a buy button. Even if you have arrows or anything pointing to you have arrows or stars or diagrams. Like the arrow could be the fishing pole arrow, and that's okay. You could name the things anything that you want, and that will not only increase relevance in Google, but also will help you convert, because imagery helps to point the user in the right direction and so forth. Even if you're doing tables or data or charts, you always want to name it appropriately. So fishing pricing table.jpg is way better if you're trying to sell people on fishing items. So it's really taking this hybrid and really taking kind of like a back and forth. What I feel is that visitors tend to ignore advertisements, so you want to integrate your offer inside your content. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. One of the best ways to capture leads these days that I've found is actually surveys. So what I tend to do in a lot of my pages is I will integrate as many surveys and questionnaires and forms that people could fill out as they're going through the content. So for instance, in this one where you have the credit score, this is embedded while you're going through the content. It's kind of like native advertisement. It's like within the content, you have a questionnaire like, is your credit lender ready? So this block in the middle is going to convert way better than anything on the side or anything else, kind of like a banner on the top. This stuff converts the best. And especially, the old school enter your email here to get our thing, that doesn't work as well as surveys these days. So you really want to try, if you're capturing emails or leads, get them into a survey or get them to download something. And that's really the best way of capturing leads. Let me show you another example where here you could even put a survey. I have a survey right at the top of the page, right? It's like big arrows pointing to it. And this will also convert because once again, like it's all about having all the building blocks, but as long as you have all the building blocks on the page, you have a lot of leeway of how you could organize it. So I was like, all right, well, let me take a really good survey I built and put the survey at the top of the page, right? This converts well and generates some of my best leads. So really, you can put it anywhere you want. I recommend putting surveys throughout your inline content and also at the top of the page. It's one of the best ways to drive traffic and also convert them into leads. The next thing is something I discovered. I've discovered a long time ago and then forgot about it and then rediscovered it very recently, and it's actually very self-explanatory, but a lot of times I forgot about it when I was concentrating on all the SEO stuff and just rankings. It was all about making your offer visible above the fold. Now, it sounds intuitive, but with all the Google and you want to have your content above the fold, a lot of us got really scared. So I started testing this again. And I found that you could have your offer above the fold and have all the content, kind of like the content that makes you rank below the fold, and it'll still do perfectly fine. Even to this day, I went back and I tested this again, and that's actually one of my biggest findings, and that is the finding that made me want to do this video, is that when Panda came along, everyone was like, okay, well, you have to present really good content above the fold, get your user reading. So that, there's a big movement to now not have big offers at the top of the page. So I went and revisited this, and the result was that even with offers above the fold, as long as you structured the offer properly and you had high quality content below, it doesn't matter, the page will still rank. So this is one of my latest tests, and one of the things that I found is I was able to get a 5.25 x improvement by moving my offer above the fold. So at the beginning of the month of May, we had we had 80 clicks per day on average. Yeah, about 80 clicks, and I'm being generous, right? So at the beginning of the month, we had about 80 clicks. Then I moved the offer above the fold, and we got 260 clicks per day. So that's pretty good, right? That's a huge improvement. So I was like, all right, cool. Is this going to drop rankings at all? And nothing happened. In fact, the rankings tend, they're pretty stable, and I don't think they could go much higher. So that was converting really well. And after that, we started adding images, and I put, once again, related images. So I did the whole trick where I have related images above the fold, so all the images are well named and there's links and all that. So then we got an even bigger increase. I'm getting about 420 clicks per day right now. So this is the same page, it's just that I manipulated the items and put them above the fold now, and kind of kept the same building blocks. It's just about how you structure the building blocks. So that's kind of like what I wanted to bring to you, is that when you're building a page that is a hybrid, so a page that wants to rank and also capture leads, you want to think of it as you're building something with Lego blocks, and as long as you put the Lego blocks together in the right piece, in the right order, you could increase conversions and rankings at the same time. So you could rank anything as long as you use the proper building blocks. The next thing you want to keep in mind is always combine the best SEO practices. So keep the images, you keep the keywords inside the images, inside the content, even if it makes it sound a little weird, like having an arrow that is, like having a small arrow that says like arrow pointing to fishing pole. That might sound a little weird, but it actually really works, right? It works and it helps you rank, and it will help the user. So you want to name them appropriately to give yourself every little bit of an advantage. The next thing you need to remember is don't go crazy on the headlines. If you're building a hybrid page, you want to make sure that the headline conveys to the user that they're at the right place, and has the keyword inside. That's all you need to do. Don't go too crazy. And last but certainly not least, the above the fold content converts way better. So I recommend you put your offer above the fold. Try to capture the lead above the fold if you can. And that whole thing about having good content above the fold, I've just tested that if you have enough good content above the fold and you have enough supporting content on the bottom, your page will still rank, and that's really how you're going to get the best converting page. So best of both worlds, have the kind of like supporting content as the bottom of the iceberg, and have your offer the peak at the top. So this works even for SEO. So if you have any questions, ask me in the support area. As always, my name is Eric Lantris. You can contact me at ericlantris.com/support or email me at lantris@gmail.com, and I will talk to you soon.